and they are rightfully concerned and want to bring these issues forward and say, hey, that's great that I'm being paid the same wage as my white coworker, but shouldn't I get more because of the abuses I've endured? That is a political conversation about reparations. That is a conversation about a lot of other things. Our job is to create unity wherever we can. So what I would say to any of that worker is go, look, if you are getting paid equally, if you are a female and getting paid the same wage as a male, then you can unite with that male to fight for better wages. If the class is being opposed, then let's go deal with that issue. If you're an African American, you're being paid the same wage as everyone else, then the issue isn't about race, it's about class. It's about your job description. It's about what's going on there. So bring that up. But let us not get into this match where it's like, hey, I've had social harm done with me, so I deserve $2 or $3 more an hour than this person, because that's playing in the boss's hand, because the boss will say, why? That's division. Now, when we talk about issues such as affirmative action or stuff that's addressing historical concerns that's beyond the workplace, that is a fair discussion to have. That's a completely different discussion. If you want to talk about reparations for slavery, I'm down for it, because I think that slavery, until we have an actual place where reparations are truly made in a good faith situation, we aren't ever going to get to the place that we need to get. That's all. And I'm using that issue because that's the most pronounced, but there's so many issues that you could use. What about the Japanese workers who had their lands taken from them? Now, I want to be full disclosure, I'm not completely full of knowledge on history of the Japanese internment camps. I don't know if their properties got given back to them later. I don't know any of that other stuff. So maybe it did. I'm just making the issue that every racial or gender identity group has a beef, and it's legit. So that's me saying a whole lot of everything to a whole lot of nothing, but it's this. Our key is to unite. We don't have the power. And by the way, folks, guess what? White working class males don't have the power either. The vast majority, you see the dipshits who are out there with guns and going to these city halls to go talk, and you go, wow, that's a white working class. That's a very small fragment of it, extremely small. And they're motivated because they've been bred individualism for a long, long time. They've been told since the day they were born that they were special. So I bring this up to say this. When we talk about organizing now, we talk about organizing. There are 4 basic things that need to be organized around right now. First of all, if you are working, there's 2 sets of groups. There's people who are working, there's people who are not. If you are working, you're organizing for wages. Your wages should be higher, because you're likely, if you're working now or you're working in a place around people, you're an essential employee. Your wages should be higher. Period. You should be able to talk to your coworkers right now and say, our wages should be higher. Hours of work. Your hours. Are you working too much or are you working not enough? Doesn't matter. It's all a problem. You should be getting at least 8 hours of pay. You should be getting 8 hours of rest. And you should be getting 8 hours of leisure. That's what the working world is supposed to be. Okay, 8 hours. Okay? So we understand that piece, that you're supposed to get those things. Okay. So that happens. Okay. So we got the 8 hours issue. Okay, benefits. If you get sick or your loved one gets sick, this is called Medicare for All, should be. You should be able to get your loved one yourself taken care of. Okay. Beyond benefits, now let's talk to the thing that oftentimes drives most of the organizing. Folks, pay, hours, and benefits are all leaves on a tree of the core issue of respect. Either your employee respects you for the work you do, or it does not. If your employee respects you, then the answer is pretty simple. Let's go get that respect dealt with. And that's what the issue is. So let's talk about that. You need to ask the people around you, are you being paid well enough? Are you working too much or too little? Are you getting good benefits so you can take care of yourself or a loved one? And then finally, most importantly, are being treated with respect. Because if you're not being treated with respect, and that's, by the way, when you look at the Amazon, the Instacart, and all these strikes, that's what it's about. It's respect. And if you're not being respected, that's a problem. So I wanted to end this podcast here because I wanted to encourage you as you go forth in the world to ask people about those 4 issues. And you don't have to say it in that way. You can even ask a simple question. Are you being respected at work? That's it. And if you ask that question, you will get some answers. And those answers are the very core principle on being able to organize. Now, if people say, yeah, I'm being respected, don't worry about them. If they say they're not, get to work. Anyways, I want to thank you for spending your evening with me to such a degree that you can. If you picked this up somewhere or you just heard it by chance somewhere, wonderful. Love you. I'm a mouth breather, so you'll hear those deep gasps from me sometimes. This is a very punk rock style podcast. I want to thank you. My hope is to get a Patreon going at some point. But want to say thank you for your time, and I want to wish you and your family nothing but health during this journey.